The chair recognizes the honourable member for Killarney.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I didn't expect to speak so quickly, but Madam Speaker, I have a very short presentation today. It's campaign trail. One can't spend their time here. Those in Killarney are awaiting me, and yes, I am. I won't lie to you, I am. But Madam Speaker, I rise today to represent the lovely people of that great constituency in the West, Killarney, to make my contribution to these financial legislation. And these days when I come to this house, I wonder if it will be the last time for the current Parliament. The Prime Minister has told the country that the election will be soon. Some say he's waxing the bell. Others say he's introducing another tongue in the bell so that those who can't hear well will be able to hear it loud and clear. All signs are there that this is the case, and the governing party has named all of its candidates and has launched its campaign. Madam Speaker, I see even at night, I'm fearful about this. This is a serious matter. At night, I see individuals campaigning in the West with light, the miners use lights attached to their heads, and they're campaigning at night, during the night. I think it's very dangerous, and I would say that it's unfair to the constituents, to the populace, for us to be campaigning at night. If you came to my house, I won't open my door, because individuals can dress in any paraphernalia, and we don't know their intention. So I would just ask them to be very, very careful. I don't think it's right, nor is it fair to the constituent. Madam Speaker, the main opposition party plans to launch its campaign this week. So I was here, so I was told. And a number of independent candidates, including myself, are on the campaign trail with regularity. It's projected, Madam Speaker, that we would have quite a number of independent candidates. I don't know them. It's only projected. Tourism, Madam Speaker, is our main sector. It is responsible for the majority of jobs and economic activity in the Bahamas. And we have the most dynamic tourism economy in this region. We have mega resorts, small and medium-sized hotels. We have a growing number of homes and residences on the market as rooms via services such as Airbnb. Our cruise sector is going through historic growth. And unfortunately, our stopover visitor numbers are not seeing the growth of many of our Caribbean neighbors. The financial services sector is the second pillar of our economy. And in recent years, Bahamians have increasingly earned posts in the sector. through it, there are many high-paying jobs and fulfilling careers. Millions of dollars in tax revenue result for the state to use to help develop our country because of financial services. And Parliament often has to modify legislation in the sector. We are also called upon to create legislation that introduces new products. The hope is that through these new products, new businesses will emerge in our country. Both sides agree on such legislation. We want to help grow the sector and ensure that it is properly regulated. The regulation side of the sector has been difficult over the years, and we as a country have tried to be compliant with our international and domestic obligations as a reputable jurisdiction. This is the case when both parties are in office. There is political consensus on this point. Nonetheless, we have had challenges the past 2 decades. There have been numerous efforts against our industry, but by the major industrialized countries. They want more tax revenue from their citizens and businesses. They want more control over the money held by companies in jurisdictions such as the Bahamas. We have had to withstand many efforts with shifting requirements, and it has been difficult being a small country in the global financial services sector. The initiatives against our country were not fair. The argument from the developed countries is that we are a jurisdiction through which taxes and responsible financial practices can be avoided. This is not true. This is absolutely not true. Both parties, while in office, have had to deal with the threat from developed countries, including that of blacklisting. I support the bills before us, Madam Speaker. It is important for Parliament to help create new financial services products. It is important that Parliament acts as quickly as possible when deficiencies are noticed in our laws. We want the Bahamas to be as attractive as possible when investors and business people look around for a place in which they want to do business. We do not want outsiders to look at the Bahamas and argue that we are not living up to our legal responsibilities. The blacklisting periods were painful episodes that required our leaders to travel around the world to protect our economy. I know personally of this because I too, as Prime Minister, had to travel to Europe to deal with financial matters. We need to always try to stay ahead of criticism when it comes to this sector. Madam Speaker, as we discuss these financial-related bills, it is necessary for me to touch on a matter that affects the financial well-being of our country. We are going into a general election at a pivotal moment in global history. On February 28th this year, the United States and Israel launched a war against Iran. Iran responded by attacking Israel, regional American military bases, and nearby Gulf countries. It is unclear how long this war will last. What is predicted that the price of fuel per barrel will increase. And some projecting as high as $200 per barrel. We are part of this global hemisphere. The Bahamas is not in isolation, and therefore we can expect impact. I was happy to read in the paper, I think about 3 weeks ago, and the Prime Minister made a statement that the Bahamas had entered a hedge agreement, and that hedge agreement is good for a further 2 months. If that is the case, it means that our electricity bill would remain stable for about 2 months based on the hedge. However, after that, one can expect a dramatic increase, not only in fuel, but in all material items that are affected by fuel. Taxis, buses, food, cruise ports, cruise ships, aeroplane. And therefore, Bahamians should take notice and consciously prepare themselves for what may be inevitable should the war and the fuel crisis continue. The United States President has said 4 weeks or thereabouts the war would last, but no one knows how long it would last and its full after effects. An obvious consequence of the war is that the prices, global prices, energy prices will rise dramatically. Gas prices around the world. And I had made a suggestion the other day that maybe individuals would have to start working again in order to cut back on bus fares, taxi fares, fuel, etc., start working again from their homes online. And it was said to me that, but that would also incur extra costs in electricity with respect to air conditioning. And my response was that during the pandemic, many people worked from home. They did their online work from home, be it banks or whatever. And yet, when you reviewed their electricity bills, it did not increase. And I can only assume that the same would occur again. Gas prices are rising here. The increase in energy costs will be felt at more than just the pump. Energy costs, we must remember, go into the cost of all goods and services. The war is likely to have a broader inflationary effect on the cost of living. And if I, as a guessing man, if I were the Prime Minister, you have a hedge that's in place for 2 months, 2 more months. You will have no cost increase in the electricity that's protected by the hedge. And you know that after that, what, as the Bahamians say, what they say, go out, have your lunch or something, it goes up. And therefore, it would be wise to call election before that, So that statement was made 3 weeks ago. It meant that election would be within the next 6 weeks. So as to maximize the hedge and minimize the inflationary experience that has already left the stable but has not yet arrived on our shores. Oh, it's reaching. The government has acknowledged the concern, but I have not heard any policy plan to help Bahamians during these times. Oil has already gone above $100 per barrel. What if it goes to 150 or more, 200 or $220 per barrel? Iran has said it is trying to pressure the price to get as high as $200 per barrel. What is the Prime Minister's plan to address the cost of living during this period? Madam Speaker, during my time in office, we faced 3 disasters. 3. Major. Irma, Dorian, and the pandemic. And Ragged Island was completely decimated and destroyed. We started a solar program hoping that that would be the model and spread to all different sectors of society. When you think about it, and Michael is an engineer, he understands this. Madam Speaker, one home is located in a particular area. The next home is located 3 or 4 miles away. You can imagine running electrical lines from that one home to the other. The cost, you would never, ever retrieve that cost. And therefore, it's essential to look at other source of electricity. So we introduced the program where Ragged Island was solarized, very successful, and the government cut the ribbon as if they had done it. No, they only cut the ribbon, but nothing else. It had not, the solar plant had not been cut on yet at that time, because at that time they were waiting for a transformer, which arrived afterward and subsequently. But Madam Speaker, I say that to say that that was a model, and it's working. Imagine if we had proceeded sooner and developed quite a number of ragged islands. We would have been able by now to cut back on the transportation of fuel to those various family islands, and subsequently would have had the cost of living in those areas by far less than what we see today. And yes, if you solarize, as we did in Ragged Island, as the model, it requires maintenance. Governments are not good at maintenance. We build and then subsequently disappear. So these plants require maintenance. Then, as another phase to that, we were introducing housing programs, and subdivisions each were to be solarized. We recognized and had discussions with the engineers, and one of the challenges were, with solarization, in weather as we see today, unless you have storage facility, your electricity supply subsequently drops. And that was a challenge. And the member for South and Central, Andres, he works in the Office of the Prime Minister. You can check the records. We had already reviewed putting in place in each subdivision, starting first with Prospect Ridge, a solarization, a storage battery facility, solar storage battery facility. The cost at that time for that facility was about $10 million. And I'm certain the cost would have dropped. But the plan, Madam Speaker, was to contact some of the major countries and purchase solar panels in bulk so the government can negotiate the bulk purchase and then pass that on to the consumers. Each house within the subdivision would be solarized. Then the storage battery facility on that compound would store all the excess energy. The cost was $10 million at that time. I'm sure it's less now. And the energy within the battery facility would be transported to BPL. So you had to upgrade the transmission line so that this could go on the grid. Now, because the individuals would have had panels, it meant that their electricity cost would not exist, be zero. BPL would be purchasing the energy from the solar storage facility, and the requirement was BPL, because they would be selling that energy to the general public, each member of that subdivision would have gotten a monthly remuneration of $30 to $50. And that was already structured. So you can imagine, Madam Speaker, every home solarized, panels, a solar storage facility at every subdivision. The cost at that time, as I said, was $10 million. That excess energy goes to BPL. BPL sells that energy to the public, and BPL pays you $30 to $50 per month for utilizing your facility. That is what you call that would have been a sort of preparation. And if we had continued along that line, then we would not have had the great impact with what we're seeing today. But, Madam Speaker, as election is near, I saw a project that's being done by a Small Business Developing Center. I want to remind the Bahamian populace that each and every one of us pay taxes. Irrespective to how we vote, we're still entitled to the benefits that the country offers. I've always said to my kids, I've always said to them, they have a responsibility to vote. And they must judge the individuals based on what they do. And I could be your father, and I could be the Prime Minister. But if you see what I'm doing is wrong, and I'm going rogue, you have a responsibility in a democratic society to vote against me, regardless of me being your parent. Because when you don't, individuals will assume that what they're doing is right. And that is what breeds dictatorship. And that is why I am a staunch believer of democracy. But in a democratic society, everyone must be treated equally and with respect. Madam Speaker, this is a project, the InPower project. I want you to remember that we had started the inner city program to spread among all of the underprivileged areas. Now, Madam Speaker, with this program, micro grants of up to $5,000 would be given to individuals. Now, let's look at which areas. Bain and Grantstown, PLP. Centerville, PLP. Angliston, PLP. Fox Hill, PLP. Freetown, PLP. Marathon, PLP. Nassau Village, I'm only reading. Nassau Village, PLP. The only one that's in there, just listen, because you're taking up my time and I need at least 6 more minutes. The only one that's not PLP that was pushed in there is St. Barnabas. But if we're looking at, no, be being fair. If we are looking at underprivileged areas, no, not yet. Let me just finish this.
The chair recognizes the honorable member for Marathon.
Madam Speaker, while I hear the good member for Kalani is pointing out the areas, right? This, the urban renewal is in partnership with the small business development. And you're saying those areas that we decided to, be quiet. They decided, right, that they wanted to target some of the areas that are inner city areas. And so while you may say, oh, Marathon is not inner city, we do have 4 areas particularly, that are inner cities, right? Vulnerables, need help. But it doesn't mean that it stops there. This project will continue in other areas. And so you should know about trying to provide opportunities for the inner city. You talk about that, right? And you talk about how good your program was, right? And we never say F&M. We say Bahamians. That's what that about.
Speaker, I admired the young member from Marathon. And the member said, it's not F&M, it's Bahamians. I totally agree. So what happened to Gambia? Gambia is an underprivileged area in Kalani. Gambia, when we spoke about the inner city program, Gambia has always been mentioned to be added. So when you talk about, you said there are some areas within Marathon that are underprivileged. So is the same, but Gambia should have been on here. So you don't know about Gambia, you only know about Marathon then. What the hell but the other poor areas around the Bahamas?
The other areas that are not considered.
The chair recognizes the honorable member for Marathon.
Good, Madam Speaker. The good member of Kalani knows better than that, right? I know about Gambia. What I'm saying is, he is saying that when he did the overhaul for the inner city, he included Gambia. If he didn't include Gambia, I'd wonder if his head wasn't right? That was your area, but Marathon there, right? So what I'm saying is, we're going to expand this. So for the Bahamians listening, don't listen to Kalani at this time, right? Listen to me while they're on my feet. They can't hear me and you at the same time. I would want you to know that the program will be extended after this pilot project is completed.
Then after all the 5,000, everybody...
No, soon. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, honorable member.
Thank you very much. I'm only reading, Madam Speaker. I'm only reading. And the whole Bahamas, everyone in Nassau, except the member for Marathon, knows about Gambia, right? And she said, if I didn't know about Gambia, my head bad. So she don't know about Gambia, her head is bad. Madam Speaker, another thing that bothers me, Central and South Eleuthera is doing a wonderful job with infrastructure in the country. But again, what happened to Kalani? I'm hearing about road infrastructure in Tall Pine, what's your area? Golden Isles, Angliston. And I've been asking repeatedly, but Bohemia West, repeatedly, but South Ocean, repeatedly.
The chair recognizes the honourable member for Central and South East.
I know the member for Kalani goosed me today.
Okay, went like
But we've been doing some paving in Kalani, and we spoke earlier this morning. He raised his concern, and I'm happy to inform Kalani that the civils team at Ministry of Works has put that area on the agenda to be paved within the next few weeks. You want a specific?
You wanna say something?
No, but the area that we spoke about this morning. Before that time. So it's on the agenda. So Baja Mix or one of the private contractors will be there. We don't have a specific date, but I will get that to you by tomorrow. You'll have the date by tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. South Eleuthera. I trust you and I believe you. If you said, I'll get it tomorrow,
He's a good man. He's a good man.
that means that tomorrow, well, this evening, I can line up my TikTok team in preparation in preparation for the announcement, us walking through Bohemia West, who will be paved. So my TikTok team, you've heard it. Get everything ready. Oh my God, this is going to be a good one, a great one, a great one. Madam Speaker, Kalani support these bills.
Thank you, honourable member. As many.